Global food prices are entering very dangerous territory, Michael Snyder reports. What in the world is going to happen if food supplies continue to get even tighter? During the second half of this year, global food prices have been surging. A perfect storm of factors is suppressing production all over the planet, and meanwhile, worldwide demand for food is just keep rising. Needless to say, higher prices hurt those at the bottom of the economic food chain the worst, and food prices have become a major issue in country after country. And if current trends continue, it won't be too long before widespread unrest breaks out. Here in the United States, the cost of living is absolutely eviscerating the middle class. If a way cannot be found to stabilize food prices, we will be seeing a tremendous amount of anger and frustration in 2025 and beyond. Last week, it was being reported that global food prices had risen to the highest level in 19 months. The World Food Price Index, compiled by the UN Food and Agriculture Administration, FAO, to track the most globally traded food commodities, increased to 127.5 points last month from a revised 126.9 points in October, the highest level in 19 months, and up 5.7% from a year ago. The vegetable oil index jumped 7.5% above levels seen a month ago and 32% above those seen a year earlier. Can you imagine? Driven by concerns over lower than expected palm oil output due to excessive rainfall in Southeast Asia. Clearly, things are not heading in the right direction, but what could be coming next is potentially even more alarming. Insane global weather patterns are having a dramatic impact on the production of some of our most important staples, and as a result, prices are rapidly trending higher. For example, the price of Arabica beans has risen over 80% so far in 2024. Coffee drinkers may soon see their morning treat get more expensive, as the price of coffee on international commodity markets has hit its highest level on record. On Tuesday, the price of Arabica beans, which account for most global production, topped $3.44 a pound, having jumped more than 80% this year. The cost of Robusta beans, meanwhile, hit a fresh high in September. It comes as coffee traders expect crops to shrink after the world's two largest producers, Brazil and Vietnam, were hit by bad weather, and the drink's popularity continues to grow. If you love coffee, you're already feeling quite a bit of pain. Unfortunately, it appears that coffee prices could become even more painful in 2025. A similar thing is happening to another very popular morning beverage. The price of orange juice is up 327% over the last 3 years, and thanks to Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, it's expected to go even higher in 2025. As consumers struggle with higher prices for groceries, one staple of the American breakfast is about to get a lot more expensive. Plagued by disease groves, uprooted trees to make room for housing developments, and severe weather that has decimated crops, the price of orange juice has skyrocketed in the past 3 years by 327% and is expected to climb even higher in the wake of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, which swept through Florida less than 3 weeks apart. According to industry data, Hurricane Milton destroyed over 3 million boxes of oranges in Florida, setting the state up for the smallest orange harvest in close to 100 years. Coupled with a protracted drought in Brazil, the world's largest orange exporter, the price for frozen concentrated orange juice trading on the International Commodity Exchange, ICE, has soared 80% to a record high of $525 per pound. Many Americans like to have eggs with their orange juice in the morning, but the bird flu is sending egg prices into the stratosphere. In some areas of California, a dozen eggs will now cost you more than $4. Economists said the bird flu has continued to impact the supply chain, with California becoming the epicenter of the virus and the fallout. Gillian Thorpe went to her local Trader Joe's in Santa Clara in search of a dozen eggs that now cost her $4, assuming she could find some in the first place. I stopped by the egg section and there were only two choices, Thorpe said. It was pretty empty. I usually only purchase organic eggs and there was only one choice for that. The bird flu is not going anywhere. In fact, a fresh wave is sweeping across the United States right now. If you love eggs, that is really bad news. Meanwhile, the size of the U.S. cattle herd has fallen to the lowest level since 1961. America's beef cow inventory has steadily declined over the last half decade, reaching 64-year lows and signaling a deepening crisis across the cattle industry. As the cattle crisis worsens, consumers should brace for higher ground beef prices. The shrinking beef supply has pushed the nation's herd size to its smallest level since 1961. With severe droughts, high interest rates, costly feed prices, sliding farm income, surging farm debt, and the shifting consumer preference towards cheaper chicken, struggling ranchers have been culling heifers, preventing any meaningful recovery in the number of calves necessary to expand the nation's herds. There were 183 million people living in the United States in 1961. Today, our population is nearly double that figure. So we have the same amount of beef that we did in 1961 to feed almost twice as many people. If you were wondering why beef prices have gotten so high, now you know. Instead of eating a steady diet of high quality food, we're being fed an endless stream of heavily processed packaged foods that are loaded with extremely unhealthy filter ingredients such as high fructose corn syrup. Sadly, many Americans are in such financial distress that the heavily processed packaged foods are all they can afford. Of course, even the heavily processed packaged foods are quite a bit more expensive than they once were. We have definitely entered a very dangerous territory, and I fully expect the trends that have been pushing up food prices to accelerate even more in 2025. Michael Snyder reports on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's new book, Why, is available on paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books available on Amazon, including Chaos, End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecy of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news, and he always freely, happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.